years ago, we came that close to getting Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. AJ Styles' phenomenal forearm in the UK put a stop to that. We came that close to getting Styles and Lesnar 2 the following year, but a vegan-friendly Rochambeau from Daniel Bryan stopped that happening too just before the event. They wouldn't do that again, would they? Maybe? Nah, too predictable. Or is it? Card is subject to change. This is Raw Graded. Drew McIntyre opens the show. He puts over Thanksgiving, says he is thankful to the WWE Universe and to the doubters that make him work hard. He is promising tonight is the night he once again becomes the WWE Champion. And then he will hit Roman Reigns with a Claymore that will bring him back down to earth. Randy Orton appears on the Tron, says that he too is thankful, and he talks about how he has been fined and suspended more than any other WWE performer, and that's pretty true. But the reason he is there is because he's the greatest wrestler ever, and Drew's not winning tonight. Drew ends it all by saying, "Nah mate, I am." And just as he's leaving, The Miz and John Morrison make their presence felt, and they're teasing being ringside for the championship match later on and cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase. Drew walks towards them like he's going to beat them up, so they leg it out of the ring. But he promises tonight, Miz, that he'll be smiling all the way to the bank. Oh, tension in the air ahead of the title match. It's an A- for this. I really love some of the dialogue bouncing back and forth here. I feel sometimes the dialogue slips into that cheesy territory for everyone involved, but overall it was a really well delivered bit, and I think adding Miz into the mix at this point adds that little bit of jeopardy to the championship match later on. 6-woman tag team action now. It is Lana teaming with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler to face Asuka and Dandy, Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. Lana apparently made the match. She wants them all to get on as friends ahead of Survivor Series, but Jax and Baszler tell her not to tag in. They're particularly ruthless this time round, are Baszler and Jax. Baszler stomping on the hand of Mandy Rose on the steel steps, potentially injuring her ahead of Survivor Series. Asuka makes the hot tag, runs wild until Shayna Baszler locks in the clutch. However, Lana, silly goose, tagged herself in, so the referee calls off the move. Lana gets into the match and quickly succumbs to an Asuka lock, getting the tap-out defeat. The consolation prize for Lana is to be put through the announce table for the 9th time. It's a C+, this one was. Good enough match, but it's just a bit repetitive in where we're going with Lana. I guess that's the point. We're trying to get Lana over as this plucky underdog. Survivor Series should be the sole survivor, I'm calling it. AJ Styles wants to bring the Raw team together ahead of this Sunday, so they're having a tune-up match against Retribution. Yes, that's where we're at now with Retribution. They are officially the warm-up team. Excellent. After this, we go to Retribution, and they say, hey, we may be pawns, but sometimes pawns win a chess game. Which is basically Mustafa Ali saying, yeah, we are pawns, but we might win. Good on you, lad. A slight upswing for Retribution here, though, as Mandy Rose is getting medical treatment. Dana Brooke is outside, stressing about whether or not she'll make it to Survivor Series or not. And then she's jumped by Reckoning of Retribution, who beats her down before security get involved. That's a nice bit of a mean streak from Retribution. I need more of this. We go to the Firefly Funhouse, where Bray Wyatt is prepping for his match against The Miz later on. This includes blindfolded Kung Fu, a spelling bee, where you spell jackass, M-I-Z. I see what you did there. And throwing darts at a dartboard and hitting Rambling Rabbit. We will see Bray Wyatt and The Miz in action later on. Good Firefly Funhouse segment. The chemistry that Wyatt and Alexa Bliss have just continues to grow. It's good to see. The Raw Tag Team Championships on the line. The Hurt Business, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, are facing the New Day. Hurt Business before the match promising to shut down SmackDown at Survivor Series and then win most of the Raw Championships in the process. Out come the New Day, who call them the Jerk Business as opposed to the Hurt Business. and New Day rocks, etc. This is officially the second match of Monday Night Raw tonight, and it's the beginning of the second hour. So, be that as it will, it's a belter to get us started in the second hour with the challengers taking over early on. Xavier Woods managing to make a break for it and tag into Kofi Kingston. Kofi's hot tag is cut off. His mean streak ends when he goes for the boom drop and Shelton Benjamin catches him in midair with a powerbomb. Chef's kisses to you, Shelton Benjamin. The challengers land a powerbomb bulldog combo just before the break, and they're in control during and after. Kofi lands a tornado DDT to get the hot tag to Xavier Woods. All looking good until the challengers just come back again. They won't be denied. We see Shelton Benjamin hit an angle slam for a near fall, and Cedric does a whole series of dives onto pretty much anyone in front of him. What a lad. Back in the ring, Kofi manages to get out of the lumbar check. He lands a Trouble in Paradise onto Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander succumbs to the Daybreak, which is the pendulum backbreaker double foot stomp from the New Day, and the champs pick up the win, retaining their titles. This was a great match. All four on top performance here. Really loved the chemistry in ring with them. And I feel like this is just the beginning though. I feel like we're going to get some different combos of the Hurt Business going up against the New Day, and I'm all right with that because this was a great little appetizer. I think the Hurt Business will end up with the Raw Tag titles, but let's have some fun when we get there. Let's have some good matches to get us there. Street Profits, New Day will see you on Sunday. Backstage, Sheamus is presenting Drew McIntyre with a gift. He talks about how close he was with Drew's mom and says he has some family heirlooms for him. Unveils a chest, and Drew opens the chest and it is full of Scottish paraphernalia. We see a kilt, we see a sporran, and then Sheamus hands him a sword. And you see Drew welling up a little bit here, which I thought was a nice little touch. He talks about the legacy of his family, and there's a little smile at the end. This is a nice little bit. Again, it's that little slow build between Sheamus and Drew. Something's gonna happen here, and I'm in for it. I'm in for it. Team Raw versus Retribution now. AJ is on commentary as Keith Lee, Riddle, Sheamus and Braun Strowman are in action against Slapjack, T-Bar, Mace and Mustafa Ali. Riddle has a great showing early on, but eventually he succumbs to the teamwork of Retribution. Can't get a tag though because T-Bar has booted Keith Lee off the apron. I'm sure these two have met before. And Sheamus and Strowman are arguing over who should get the tag, so Riddle is on his lonesome for a good long while. In fact, it's not until after the break that Riddle finally gets an opening and manages to land a Fisherman's Buster and tag into Keith Lee, who's just a house of fire. He starts swinging Slapjack around like a slapjack, really. Just in the powerbomb position, just hoying him into people, sends both T-Bar and Mace flying over the top rope. And then we see Sheamus and Braun Strowman arguing over who gets to basically be the winner of the match, because Keith Lee hits a powerbomb. And then we see Sheamus tag himself in, do the whole fella thing. Then Braun tags himself in, goes for the powerbomb, power slam, here I go type thing. That's his catchphrase, don't you know? And Sheamus pulls Ali away. They're arguing. In amongst the chaos, we see Mustafa Ali roll up Riddle for the 1, 2, 3. Retribution get the sneaky cheeky win and bail out of there as the Raw team argue. Giving it a B. This was actually a good match with everybody involved. Enjoyed Riddle on the defense and the offense through most of this one. Keith's role was very simple. The team can't get along shtick has played out quite nicely. I feel like I'm more invested in the Raw team not getting along than the Raw women's team not getting along for whatever reason. Whether or not it's just a case of like I'm believing more the silliness, or whether the women's one feels a bit more repetitive, I'm not sure. But I'm more into this. We'll see how it plays out on Sunday. Nikki Cross is backstage. She is looking for Alexa Bliss. They're friends for life. She's going to try and get her away from the Fiend. We'll see how that goes later on. Jeff Hardy's also backstage, pulling down wanted posters put up by Elias. He hasn't forgotten that whole car accident thing from SmackDown. Despite the fact that Jeff Hardy was innocent, he finds Elias in the dressing room and confronts him, throwing him up against the locker and telling him that he either backs off or he does something worse to him than hit him with the car. Oh, good. Jeff Hardy versus Elias is still a thing that's happening. I'm dead pleased. I'm not dead pleased. The Miz versus Bray Wyatt now. Fair play to The Miz for referencing Bray Wyatt breaking into his house the other year. I'm glad they tied that in. Miz is happy to let bygones be bygones and let it be water under the bridge if this match doesn't happen. Alexa Bliss, on behalf of him, comes out and says no. This brings out Nikki Cross, who tries to talk some sense into Alexa Bliss, and Alexa ends up striking Nikki down and just jumping on her and wailing on her with punches until security separate them. Bray Wyatt comes out, lovely red cardigan, shoots daggers at Nikki Cross, and then skips down the ramp with Alexa Bliss. The match gets underway with Bray offering a handshake to The Miz, and The Miz kicks it away. Cue Miz beating up Bray Wyatt as Bray Wyatt chuckles in the process. So that's pretty much the emphasis of this match is Miz dominating Bray Wyatt, and this is in keeping because Bray Wyatt, as we know, is a bit crap as a wrestler. That's the gimmick. I'm not saying that Bray Wyatt is, not saying that he's a bad wrestler, but that's you get it. Come on. So as the match wears on, we finally see Bray Wyatt snap after Miz has put a beating on him for ages. He tries to peel out of Sister Abigail, doesn't land it, but ends up landing a heavy clothesline, a big crossbody, and you can see him start to get a little bit evil. Goes into the corner to do the backward spider tarantula pose. Morrison grabs the leg of Bray, and Bray is staring at Morrison. And here comes Alexa Bliss flying off the steel steps, jumps into Morrison, and the two go crashing over the barricade. Chances are you've seen this by now. I think it is the most gifable moment of Monday Night Raw from last night. Share your favourite memes of that one. Miz strikes as this is going on, hits that running clothesline into the corner where he sticks his legs through the ropes. And Wyatt just smiles at him, pulls him into the centre of the ring, and then hits that Sister Abigail for the 1, 2, 3. After the match, we see Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt reunited on the outside of the ring, and they head off up the ramp together, and then the Fiend screeching here is heard all over the Thunderdome, and then his face appears on the Tron, and they're just staring up at the Fiend as we go to break. Giving this a B+, great character work in this match. I felt like it was a little bit lost in the shuffle, the fact that Miz was talking earlier on about being ringside for the title match, and then, we're having this match with Bray Wyatt. Sort of the message was a bit confused there, but whether or not this leads to Miz being in the mix with The Fiend and Drew and Randy, I don't know. But I enjoyed the match. I thought it was great. And as I say, Alexa Bliss just throwing herself into John Morrison is the most gifable moment of Monday Night Raw. Adam Pearce informs us that Dandy are not going to make it to Survivor Series, and they have been replaced on the Raw women's team by Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce. So Mandy Rose gets her hand stamped on by a steel step, out of action. Dana Brooke gets attacked briefly by Reckoning backstage, out of action. Lana gets put through 9 tables. She's good to go. All right, whatever, Trevor. Angel Garza is backstage practicing his Zoom dating techniques, doing some straight-to-camera crooning, and he offers a flower to somebody. We don't know who. Probably everybody. Probably Adam Pacitti. And this is leading to the Lothario character they're building with Angel Garza. Intrigued to see where this one goes. Feels a bit like a kind of modern day ravishing Rick Rude type thing. Just like a hint of it. Before we get to the main event, we see Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler meeting up with Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans. And they want to talk strategy, but Jax and Baszler certainly do not. So there you go. They won't get along this coming Sunday. I just find it bizarre why you would split up the Iconics to put Peyton Royce in a tag team. Whatever, Trevor. So we come to main event o'clock. It is Drew McIntyre challenging Randy Orton for the WWE title. Brand new entrance for Drew. Same cracking music, but we have the kilt, the sporran, and the sword that Drew drives into the stage and flames come out. This is a wonderful entrance for Drew McIntyre. Kind of feel like he was missing that extra bit of gimmickiness, I feel. And I feel like this is good. This is very good. Really liked this. As the match gets underway, Drew gets the upper hand early, and Randy tries to take his leave. But Adam Pearce appears onto the top of the ramp and informs Randy that the match is now no count out and no disqualification. So once we come back from break, the match continues and Randy Orton takes full advantage of the no DQ thing by just driving a chair into the guts and into the jaw of Drew McIntyre. They fight around the ring, both guys taking it in turns to drop each other back first onto the announce table. Orton's got a table ready for some shenanigans a little bit later on. They end up getting back into the ring where we see Randy Orton pretty much take the lead from here. At one point, Drew lands a DDT, gets a kip up and screams, "Yes, sir, I can boogie," which I believe is the first time on Monday Night Raw we've had a reference to Scottish defender Andrew Considine. Hopefully not the last. Before the break, Orton gets put through the table that he set up outside the ring, hoisted by his own woodwork. As he gets back up from this, he manages to get back into the fight, landing a draping DDT onto Drew off the announce table and one in the ring for good measure. He starts a setup for an RKO, but Drew manages to push him away before he lands it and hits a Claymore on the rebound for the 1-2-3. And just like that, Drew McIntyre is a two-time WWE champion. He looks down the lens of the camera and tells Roman Reigns to set a place at the table this Sunday. We're getting Drew versus Roman at Survivor Series. They bait and switched us again, but this is a good bait and switch. The match, before we get into the outcome of that one, I'm giving the match an A. I thought an excellent way to wrap up Monday Night Raw. Really enjoyed the back and forth. I think with Drew's new entrance and the way that Adam Pearce changed the match midway through, and just the fact that, you know, a face and heel match has certainly more intrigue than what we had. It sort of telegraphed where this was going, but you know what? It means Drew becomes champion again, so I'm not worried about the telegraphing of the finish. I thought it was fine. A really good match with these guys. And I know I've been quite harsh on the Drew and Randy feud, saying that I'm pretty much done with seeing these guys wrestle. Well, I was glad to be proved wrong here because I really enjoyed this main event, and we're probably going to get another one out of them before the end of the year, possibly. I can probably see Randy winning the belt back, you know. I wonder whether this is just a scheme just to clock up title wins for him, but give us a compelling match against Roman at Survivor Series somewhere in the middle. Possibly. That might be where we go with this. But I enjoyed it. I'm giving it an A. And I'm looking forward to Drew versus Roman Reigns. And surely that's what wrestling's all about. Looking forward to matches. Overall this week, I feel like it's been a long time since I've said this. Raw was really, really good. I'm giving it an A-. There was lots to like in here. It was very streamlined. Like there was very much a focus here. With the exception of maybe some of the stuff with Bray and The Miz. But there was a focus here. And like everything that was done was either good or excellent. There was nothing here that really stunk the joint up. The title matches really hit home nicely. The tag title match I want to see more of. And the WWE title match I thought was great as well. And it adds some flair going into Survivor Series and gives us some intrigue going forward. Raw was good this week. We don't get to say that very often. So let's celebrate it. Until next time, stay safe. Love you, bye.